first case that comes to my mind is the Bernie Madoff matter, which was very unfortunate, and it involved defrauding hundreds of investors of millions and millions of dollars. And I do believe law enforcement did everything they could do with the laws on the books and enforcement of those laws. I also believe that the individual plaintiffs did everything they could do as well to recover as much of their losses as possible. It was unfortunate because ultimately there wasn't much left, and there was a bankruptcy involved as well. So I think given those circumstances and the egregiousness of that matter, it was the best outcome that could have been had under those circumstances. The other case that comes to mind is the Enron matter. Enron was a different example than the Bernie Madoff case because it was a different type of breach of trust. And to me, that's what all these securities fraud cases that are out there represent, are different breaches of trust. Enron was more of a systemic corporate conglomerate that was built on false pretenses and misrepresentations of what their value was. And unfortunately, a lot of investors were wiped out in that action as well. I think if there was a mechanism for the SEC to handle consumer complaints and enforcement of those complaints in a way that benefited the consumer, that would be, I think, better. The SEC right now kind of does its own thing. It chooses what laws and what rules and regulations to enforce, and I think that can be problematic because you may have some individual consumer actions that would only be addressed by the courts or filing a lawsuit, and litigation is time-consuming, it's expensive, and unpredictable. I do think the SEC does a good job based upon its limitations and its manpower and its limited budget. Unfortunately, it can't scrutinize every transaction out there. There are hundreds of thousands of transactions in a given year, if not millions, and so it can only do so much at a time. And I think where they are now is interesting because obviously there's a big political shift in the role of the SEC and regulation generally. So I think given that climate, they're doing the absolute best job that they can.